National Weather Service, and he can answer any questions about the tornado.
Good morning, all. Yes, we do have a survey team out of 3 individuals that'll be looking at the damage path today. We attempted to do some storm surveying yesterday, but because there was so many roads blocked with debris, we really couldn't get to a whole lot of places. So we do have some preliminary information. As was mentioned, the tornado touched down around the Alba Highway area, west, just along the Otsego and Antrim County line. It entered Gaylord around the Nottingham Estates mobile home park, went across M32, and then went north of town. The initial tornado warning went out at about 3:38 p.m., and the tornado arrived in Gaylord about 3:48 p.m., so it's about 10 minutes of lead time for that.
Is this an unusual weather event for Gaylord?
Yes, we don't get a whole lot of tornadoes. In the state of Michigan in general, we typically average about 15 or so in the entire state, and more of those are downstate than they are up to the north, so it is pretty unusual for up here.
15 for how, in time, what time period?
Within a year, within a given year, yes.
And how long was it that the tornado?
It took probably about 3 minutes for the tornado to go through town. It was moving fairly quickly. The storm was moving about 55 miles an hour. So that's fairly quick. The storm, we believe, as a rough estimate, was on the ground for approximately 26 minutes. But we'll have a better idea of that once we get out and survey that today.
Do you know when the last time there was something similar to that this year?
Not in Gaylord. We did have a significant wind event that was not tornadic related back on August 28th, 2018. We had another significant wind event back on September 26th of 1998, which did extensive damage. But this is by far the worst of those 3 because we have a lot more residential damage in this event than we did with those prior 2.
Is it common for a tornado to be on the ground for 26 minutes? Is that normal, or is that a little bit more?
That's fairly long. Typically, most tornadoes on the ground only for a couple of minutes at a time. So this is pretty unusual. But the atmosphere yesterday did support a fairly significant potential for tornadoes. So given the atmosphere that we had yesterday, it was not surprising that this happened. But even for up here, that's very unusual.
And the first one?
Pardon me?
First one?
In Gaylord, in recorded history, yes. So that goes back to about 1950 or so.
Have you been able to measure the official strength of this one?
We will not have that until probably tonight. We need to go out there and make sure that we, like I said, because we only have done minimal amount of surveying yet, we have to kind of put the pieces together. And that usually takes a day or 2. We're hopefully having some idea of that tonight. But we need to evaluate the structures that were damaged, and there's some parameters that we have to look at in terms of construction and things like that to try to get a better estimate of what the damage might have been.
Is there a word of caution for someone who may want to return to their property to retrieve some items or some of their personal effects, but it wouldn't be safe for them to do that?
I will let someone else speak to that.
Can you just give us your name and
Oh, my name is John Boris, B as in boy, O-R-I-S.
JLHN?
Yes, that's correct.
From the National Weather Service?
That's correct.
Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.